Hi everybody, this is Ellie. Thanks so much for joining me today for my April 2020 setup in my pocket-sized bullet journal. I'll be trying something a little bit different where I do one video to show you how I've set up my bullet journal, that's this one, and another video showing you my March 2020 flip through. For the month of March, my setup was in this leather cover by Eberhart Studio. It's the Autumn Harvest leather with the light orange stitching, and it's a hybrid folio and traveler's notebook. I love the leather and the setup. The sticker in the front is from Protect Your Peace, whose shop has unfortunately closed. I've just pulled out my bullet journal, which is a Hobonichi A6 plain notebook cut down to pocket size, and I'm going to start setting up for April. I've cut out this piece of vellum. I had this pack of vellum from years ago, so unfortunately I don't remember where it's from. And I've pulled out some alphabet stamps that I got from Amazon and my VersaMagic ink so that I can stamp the word April. I like these stamps a lot. They're small enough to work well in my pocket-sized setup, and I really like the typewriter font. Some of the rubber parts on the bottom are crooked, but I can still try my best to line it up. And to be honest, I never stamp straight anyways, and I kind of think that's part of the charm. So I've finished stamping April. It's a little bit off center, but you'll see I add a little something after to make it look a little bit more appealing to me. I'm using my Le Pen technical drawing pen to write a quote this month that reads, "Just keep letting go by being aware that you are aware." And that's from The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. Right now, we're in difficult and unprecedented times, and I just want to remind myself that it's okay to feel how I'm feeling and to just try to be aware of whatever it is and hopefully let it move through me. So this quote kind of really spoke to that, and I wanted it as a reminder for this month. Here I am adding some leaves or a little fern just to kind of even it out and speak to, the part of me that likes more symmetrical setups. I'm just using my pen to frame the quote here. I rarely use a ruler in the bullet journal. I think I haven't used one in months actually, and I like the look of freehand lines. I actually usually make more of a mess when I do have a ruler, so it works out. I'm using a Faber Castell Pitt Artist brush pen in a gray. I will try to link it below just to do a drop shadow that is really hard to see on camera, and also it's really light in person. Now I'm going to try to tip in my vellum using a method that I've seen Daksina do. She actually made a whole video on it, so I will link that below. But basically, you're just folding your tape around a flat edge. I'm using a Hobonichi stencil and trying to get it as close to the binding as possible so that it just kind of seamlessly feels and flips like a page that was already there. I don't know if I do it as effectively or cleanly as Daksina does, but I am happy with the results. The tape I'm using is clear, but it's also matte, so you can see it a little bit in person anyways, but it doesn't bother me. Sometimes I'll use washi tape, but because this vellum is that kind of nice, clean black and white, I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. So I'm really happy with how that looks. I'm realizing though, because I just did one piece of tape in the middle at the back, those edges are kind of flipping up and getting caught when I turn the pages. So I'm just going to add a couple more small pieces of tape to keep that even more secure. I'm really enjoying adding tip-ins to my bullet journal. I don't add too many, but I do add a few here and there, and I just find it adds a little bit of kind of whimsy, and it's just fun to flip through. After I finish my title page, I move on to my monthly pages. So I'm just checking out March and reminding myself of kind of how I set it up and anything I need to move forward. And I use my Le Pen technical drawing pen in the 1.0 to write April at the top of both pages and freehand a box around them. I use the left-hand page as a spot to write my focus for the month and any tasks I have, and the right-hand page is my calendar index. I'm just putting a post-it down before I highlight, and it gives me a nice clean edge instead of kind of a pool of the ink there. That's a Stabilo Swing Cool color, and I'm just writing focus on top of that. So my focus every month just depends on what's going on in my life. And this month, my focus is to incorporate meditation into my regular routine and to nurture my relationships. And by that I mean my partner and I are living with my family, so my parents, my brother, and my grandmother. And during this time of social distancing, we are all home a lot more than usual, and it can be easy to kind of spread out and do our own thing. But I also want to be aware of the fact that we do have this time together and, just try and intentionally enjoy it with each other when we can. So on the right-hand side, I'm just writing the numbers for the month of April. I'm writing the dates, and I'm in a thinner pen. I believe it's a 0.005, or it might be 0.003 I'm using. I'm just writing the first letter of the day of the week. Thursdays I always write with an R because that's how it was on my university schedules, and it's just stuck ever since. I'm drawing a box around my focus. I just like it to stick out, and I find that the boxes with drop shadows are something simple but impactful. I'm using another Faber Castell Pitt artist pen to do the shadows on the month, and I've used those same colors in every month so far, and I like the consistency. Here I'm just highlighting the weekends. It just gives me that nice visual separation. I did it a little too soon, and there's a tiny bit of smearing, but nothing to write home about. Just checking back at my tasks. And I don't believe I have any that can carry forward from March. Oh, here I'm trying to do a drop shadow with my highlighter. I should have gotten another brush pen because this ended up getting really messy and clunky towards the right side there, but that's okay. It just looks, homemade, which it is. I like to include washi tape at the bottom of my monthly spreads, and this one is from Callaby Crafts. It's gold foiled mushrooms, and I just think it is so cute. I toyed with the idea of using umbrellas for this month because, April showers bring May flowers, but I am kind of hoping that this isn't too gloomy and rainy of an April. So I went with the slightly more optimistic mushrooms, which I just think are adorable. You see I'm trying to use the palette knife again to cut the washi tape, and that is not something I've mastered so far, but I continue to practice in the hopes that one day I will. So I'm flipping to my future log to see if there's any tasks I can migrate from there onto my monthly log, but there aren't. Everything is either canceled or postponed. I do have a decluttering list in my bullet journal already, so I've written that down, and I'm just including the page number so it's easy to refer back to. I want to finish Good Morning, Good Life by Amy Landino this month. And I also want to start practicing painting with watercolors. I have a book, and I figure this is the perfect time to get started on it. So as far as setting up my bullet journal pages, this is pretty much all I do because afterwards I'll move right into dailies. Oh, here I've just noticed that there's a big crinkle because of how I lay down my washi, so I'm fixing that. So title page and monthly log, and there we go. I'll move right into dailies. I celebrated my birthday in March, and when my partner asked me what I wanted, this cover from Sojourner was at the top of the list. This is a pocket-sized TN in the Caribou with a wraparound pocket in the dark speck brown. I had emailed Rowena to ask her if she had any spec brown that was dark enough to kind of look tone on tone with the caribou, and this is what she came up with, and I'm so happy with it. It's got kind of an interesting texture and is really thin and velvety soft, and I just love the feel of it with the sturdier, more structured caribou underneath. I also got the extra 1/2 inch added to the width in case my bullet journal gets even fluffier, or if I want to use tabs or a couple of different inserts. Because there are no pockets in this traveler's notebook, I wanted to make something that I could slip the back cover of my bullet journal into so that it didn't get damaged on the strings. I followed a tutorial that Sarah Martinez did, which I will link down below, and it was wonderful. I love this kind of slip pocket made out of cardstock she's come up with. You'll see this fits beautifully inside there, and this way I can still see my front cover decor. It fits just perfectly inside and feels pretty sturdy. So I have this on the second string, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. This is the dashboard that I use as storage. I'm just taking out the vellum so that I can switch that up for April. This month I'm going to use some ledger vellum, which I apologize, I do not know where it's from. It's from the same pack as that butterfly vellum. And the sticker on the front is by River and Roots, and I love her style. That heart in hand sticker is beautiful, and to me it just reminds me that your intentions and emotions are connected to your actions, or in an ideal world they are, and I just think it's a great reminder and a beautiful sticker, so I'm really happy to have that there. It's not peeled and stuck, it's just a little bit of removable adhesive, so I can keep reusing it until it finds its forever home. So I put in my mini sticker book and my favorite washi, and I'm putting the dashboard on the last string. And I'm doing that because my bullet journal has gotten pretty fluffy and has a little bit of a hump now. So by having it under the back, it makes a nice and more level writing surface. Because I do have the dashboard in my setup this month, I'm going to use a binder clip so that I can hook my Uniball Jetstream onto it and just keep it even more secure. It works just fine with only the elastic too, but sometimes I like having the clip in case I don't close it with the elastic. So for my front pocket decor, I'm using this beautiful black lotus from Robyn at Journal Rhapsody, formerly Art Journal Girl. She no longer has a store, unfortunately, but I was lucky enough to snag a couple of these before she closed. I just love, again, the tone on tone. I think it's beautiful, and it just is peaceful and reminds me to breathe, which is something I need right now. I want to keep these Hobonichi stencils with me, so I'm just slipping them in the back. I'm putting them in upside down because it does have that kind of jagged part at the top, so I don't want it to scratch anything. This is me realizing that I forgot to put in my monthly printable. So this is from SM Plans. It's a freebie in her Facebook group, and I print it back and front and include it so that I can cross off the days as they go by and just have an idea of exactly where we are in the month. This is an idea that I took from Daksina, and I've been doing it for the past 3 months, and I really, really enjoy it. So I'm just using the same style of tipping it in. I'm using a thin washi tape, and I actually find it easier with this than with the Scotch tape. I assume it's because the washi is much thinner, and I guess also you can peel it up if you make a mistake, so maybe knowing that makes me feel more confident when I'm doing it. But there we go. I just include it there, and it's really helpful for me to be able to see like a traditional calendar in addition to the calendar index. So this is my setup for the month of April. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.